80 miles of shelving, over 35,000 volumes of cataloged manuscripts, documents that date back over 12 centuries, the Vatican Secret Archives. Only a small number of pre-approved scholars have ever been allowed inside, and even then, they can only request documents they already know exist. You cannot browse, you cannot search freely, you cannot stumble onto something they don't want you to find. Ask yourself, why does the most powerful religious institution in human history need a secret archive at all? They say it's preservation, they say it's protection, but institutions that are protecting history don't restrict who can read it. Institutions that are hiding something do. And what they're hiding inside those 80 miles of shelving? It doesn't just challenge what you know about religion. It challenges what you know about civilization itself. Because the Vatican didn't just collect history. They collected the parts they decided you were never allowed to see. The Vatican Secret Archives. What's really inside? When people hear Vatican secrets, the first thing that comes to mind is the Vatican Secret Archives, officially called the Apostolic Archives. But here's where things get interesting. These archives contain over 50 miles of shelving filled with ancient manuscripts, letters, and documents dating back over 1,000 years. We're talking about handwritten letters from kings, secret trials, and records that never made it into history books. And it's not just random paperwork either. These are original documents, real pieces of history that shaped entire civilizations, decisions, and even wars. Now, this next part might surprise you. Despite being called secret, some scholars are allowed limited access, but only under strict supervision, and they can't just browse freely. They have to request specific documents, meaning the Vatican still controls what gets seen. So the real question is, what's still hidden? Because if this is what we already know exists, imagine what hasn't been revealed yet. Forbidden books the Vatican locked away. For over 4 centuries, the Vatican maintained a list, not a reading list, a suppression list. They called it the Index Librorum Prohibitorum, the Index of Forbidden Books. And between 1559 and 1966, over 4,000 works were placed on it, banned, buried, declared too dangerous for human consumption. Now here's where it gets dark. Galileo, Copernicus, Descartes, Voltaire, Victor Hugo, their works all forbidden. Think about that. The greatest scientific and philosophical minds in human history, all silenced by the same institution. Not because their ideas were wrong, because their ideas were right. Because a single truth, that the earth moves, that authority can be questioned, that the church is not the final word on reality, was enough to get your life's work locked behind a wall. They told the world these books were dangerous to faith. What they meant was dangerous to control. Because here's the thing about the index that nobody talks about. The Vatican didn't destroy those books. They kept them, every single one, under lock and key in the secret archives, read only by people they trusted. They didn't ban knowledge because it was false. They banned it because it was theirs. And if 4,000 published works were considered too dangerous for you to read, imagine what's sitting in those archives that was never published at all. The Dark Trials, Secrets of the Inquisition. When discussing dark secrets of the Catholic Church, one of the most chilling chapters is the Inquisition. This was a time when people were investigated, judged, and punished for beliefs considered heretical. But here's where things take a darker turn. Many records from these trials are preserved inside Vatican archives. Detailed confessions, interrogation notes, and verdicts that reveal how far institutions went to maintain control. These weren't just simple court cases. They involved intense questioning, pressure, and in some cases, severe punishments. And this is where most people make a mistake. They think history fully reflects what happened. But history is often written by those in power, so what we know might only be part of the story. What remains hidden could be even more unsettling. And that's what keeps this chapter of Vatican history so haunting. Vatican conspiracy theories, or hidden truths. Let's talk about Vatican conspiracy theories. Now, not all of them are true, but some persist because there are unanswered questions. Stories about hidden artifacts, secret knowledge, and even ancient relics that could rewrite history. But here's the key detail. The Vatican has one of the largest collections of historical artifacts in the world, and not all of them are on display. In fact, only a small percentage is actually visible to the public. So naturally, people wonder, are their discoveries being kept out of public view? Or is it simply a matter of preservation and protection? The mystery itself fuels curiosity and keeps people searching. Because when information is limited, imagination fills the gaps. Missing pages of history. Now this next part might surprise you. There are historical gaps, periods where documentation is limited or missing entirely. And some believe that within the Vatican's hidden documents lie answers to those gaps. For example, unpublished correspondences between rulers and religious leaders, early versions of texts that were later edited or revised, records that might show a different version of events. These documents could provide context that completely changes how we interpret history. But here's where things get interesting. If alternative versions of history exist, even in fragments, they could challenge widely accepted narratives. And that's exactly why this topic keeps people hooked, because it suggests that what we know might not be the full picture. Vatican scandals that shocked the world. Not all Vatican secrets are ancient. Some are much more recent and very real. Over the years, there have been financial scandals, controversies, and internal conflicts that raised serious questions about transparency. These events have been covered by major news outlets and have sparked global discussions. But here's the important part. These situations show that even powerful institutions face challenges and scrutiny. And this is where the line between mystery and reality blurs. Because when real scandals exist, it makes people wonder what else might be hidden behind closed doors. And that curiosity naturally leads people deeper into the topic of Vatican secrets. Hidden symbols and messages. Ever noticed how many symbols exist within Vatican art and architecture? From paintings to sculptures, some believe there are hidden meanings embedded within them. But here's where things get interesting. Art has always been a way to communicate ideas, sometimes openly, sometimes subtly. During certain periods in history, artists couldn't express ideas freely, so symbolism became their language. Some researchers claim that certain works contain coded messages or symbolism that goes beyond religion. Now, whether that's intentional or just interpretation is still debated, but it adds another layer to the mystery of Vatican secrets, and it makes you look at art in a completely different way. Secrets Vatican is hiding or protecting. Let's flip the perspective for a moment. What if these Vatican secrets aren't being hidden out of fear, but out of responsibility? Think about it. Ancient documents can be fragile. Misinterpreted information can spread quickly, and sensitive historical records might require context to fully understand. Releasing certain information without explanation could lead to confusion or misinformation. So the real question becomes, is the Vatican hiding secrets or carefully preserving them? And this is where the conversation gets more complex, because not everything hidden is meant to deceive. Sometimes it's meant to protect. Why these mysteries keep us hooked? Here's the truth. Humans are naturally drawn to mystery. The idea that there's hidden knowledge, something just out of reach, it triggers curiosity like nothing else. It's the same reason we're fascinated by unsolved cases, ancient civilizations, and unexplained phenomena. And the Vatican, with its long history, global influence, and restricted access, becomes the perfect subject for speculation. But here's the key takeaway. Not every mystery has a dark answer. Sometimes, the unknown simply remains unknown. And maybe that's what makes it so powerful. Because the mystery itself keeps the story alive. So when we talk about Vatican secrets, we're really talking about a mix of history, mystery, and human curiosity, where fact and speculation often blur together. And remember that story we opened with? The idea of hidden corridors filled with untold knowledge. That mystery still exists, and maybe that's what makes it so powerful. Because sometimes, the unknown is more captivating than the truth itself. If this opened your eyes to how much we still don't know, then you'll definitely want to watch the next video, where we break down the world's most mysterious, unsolved historical secrets. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, hit like and subscribe, because we're just getting started.